morning. Nice to see you.
Hi, Deanna. How are you?
Great. Welcome on the show. Thanks for coming and interviewing today. I can't wait to hear what you have to say. I know there's a lot of new moms out there who are thinking about postpartum weight loss, and that's what you're going to talk about today. So
Oh my
tell me
gosh.
about yourself.
Thank you so much. I'll just give a brief intro. I'm Channing Kalani. You can find me on Instagram at BirthCoachChan. Recently became a birth and postpartum doula just out of sheer passion for helping moms, not only through birth, but postpartum, because I surprisingly have had 3 kids in the last 4.5 years. And so we've gone through pregnancy and birth and postpartum pretty much back to back in the last 4.5 years. And as it relates to this particular topic, it's near and dear to my heart because my personal story is that in each pregnancy, although it's super vulnerable to be open about this, but I think it's crucial to the story is there's my first pregnancy, I gained 45 pounds. And then my second two, I gained 50 pounds. And you're talking to somebody that I'm healthy and fit, and I was not eating Twinkies before pregnancy. Up until I felt healthy enough, I would work out, and we're a very healthy and fit family. So that was really hard for me, just identity shifting and realizing, oh my gosh, like looking in the mirror being like, I'm just so much bigger than I normally am. But the good news is that thankfully we had really great things set up postpartum where I was able to lose all that weight 3 times now. So and I lost that weight within the first 4 to 6 months of postpartum every time. And
Really?
so, yeah, right.
That's
So
an
it's like
amazing thing to state right there. And then you got pregnant again, right?
totally right. And then it starts over again. And I will say we're done now. We're done with 3 kids. We're very busy. We love it. It's amazing, but we're done for now. At least I hope. The last two were
Famous
surprises.
last words. Yeah.
I think we're done with 3. So I just want to, help moms. And I'm not of the mindset of bounce back culture. Like I think that that's super toxic. I'm not somebody that's, you know, super super focused on bouncing back, but I do think it's really important for our mental health to feel like you can become yourself again a little bit after you have a child. So you're not only beholden to this new body forever and ever. It's like you can do things naturally and at no cost to you that will really jumpstart your weight loss and just get you into a better physical and mental space in your postpartum.
That sounds awesome. So I know you have graciously whittled down your top 10 tips to top 5, but we'll see if we can get 10 in. But I want to at least get the top 5 into this video, and maybe we can do a part 2 and add the rest. We'll see.
That would be awesome. I love that. And yes, for the sake of this conversation, we're just going to keep it to 5. It's so hard. Like, really, there's probably 30 things. But if I really had to narrow it down to 5, and then, of course, 10, let's do that. So, number 1 is this might surprise you, but get off the scale. Forget about the scale. I don't know if anybody else can relate to this, and again, me being super vulnerable, I think in my 20s and 30s, I think I was like addicted to the scale. Like any big major event in my life, I like knew how much I weighed that day. And I would like focus on that. That really, really, really messes with your head. And it's also just totally not evidence based around how you actually effectively lose weight. It's not about weighing yourself every single morning. It's really about what you put into your body, the activity that you're doing, and how you're nourishing yourself. And the weight, I mean, that fluctuates every single day. So you could have 5 days of amazing eating and being really healthy and getting outside and having movement, but the scale doesn't change because maybe it's retaining a little bit more water because you had more salt in your dinner last night. So, and then that throws you off, right? So the psychological battle of that scale, like what happens to our psyche, I feel like for a lot of women like me, just drop that completely and say, you know what? I just had a baby. This is not about the number on the scale. I'll check like twice a month. Okay. Every other month, right? Or every other week, sorry. Or pick a day like, okay, you know what? On Mondays, I'm going to just check and see where I'm at. Or maybe it's monthly. But I used to literally check every single morning, and that was so toxic. Just get rid of that. Okay. So that's number 1. Okay. So number 2, and I mean, you could research this yourself, but it's just so true. It's water. Okay. Water, water, water. And whether you're a nursing mama, that's going to come into play naturally. You're going to have to drink a lot of water if you're going to nurse your babies, or even if you're not. I mean, So the statistics now say that essentially your body weight, divide that in half, that's the amount of ounces that you should be having every single day at a minimum, just to survive and thrive and not have a headache for the day and not feel exhausted at 3 o'clock. It's water, 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 water. So even if you're, again, if you're nursing, you should already have one of these with you at all times. But even if you're not, your first thing that you're grabbing after birth in postpartum is water. And you're drinking as much water as possible. For me, 140 pounds. So my minimum ounces is about that 70, 75. I round up because I know I need more for my skin. So my goal is to drink 3 of these a day. So this is 33 ounces. So my goal is about 90 ounces a day, like close to a liter. So again, the tip there is whatever your weight is, divide it in half. That's the amount of ounces you really should be drinking in water. Most of us are walking around completely dehydrated. So water, okay? That's number 2. Number 3, and this is something that I have delved into in the last year, even before getting pregnant. Oh my gosh. And it's funny because I feel like if my husband was watching this, he'd be like, I've told you this forever, but it's protein first. So water, of course, but the first thing you want to put in your body in the day, it's not a bite of a bagel, okay? It's a bite of an egg or ground beef with your eggs or avocados, or we have beef sticks and nuts and all those things, but it's protein first, okay? And so the rule of thumb there is your body weight is supposed to be mirrored with the ounces, the ounces of protein that you have, the grams of protein that you have in the day. That is really hard to do. So like for me, 140 pounds, 140 grams of protein, that's like the goal. But honestly, even just doing half of that, if you just focus on your protein and adding that up, that's going to keep you satiated longer. It's going to help you feel fuller. And that's what we need also to produce milk, to thrive, to have energy. One other thing on that is that if you begin your day with protein, it's a crazy thing, Deanna. Try it. Literally try it tomorrow. If you start your day with protein, it could be collagen protein in your coffee, you will crave protein throughout the entire day. So like literally you will say, you know what, I really want like some meat. We eat meat in this house. I really want meat. I really want some like nuts. I need like avocado toast. Like I need something really like to fill me up, versus if you start your day with a bagel, you're going to literally crave bagels all day. Bagels, cookies, chips, like. So what you start with is protein. A good rule of thumb is your body weight times it by 1. That's the amount of grams you really actually need. And you can look this up and research it as well. So protein, protein, protein. And then I'll round us out with number 4 and number 5.
Okay.
Really, number 4.
I'm going to go back on my word and interrupt you.
Okay.
Because what you said was like so awesome. So first of all, about the water, I just wanted to say about the water. It was so hard for me to drink water, and I think I've been dehydrated for 50 years. But one thing that really helped, and I tell this to people all the time, is the water doesn't stick unless you have some electrolytes with it. So just drinking water, and it goes right through you, and you're like, well, I'm just peeing it out. Well, you're just peeing it out. But if you can have some electrolytes there, definitely that's going to make it stick and hydrate you. So, well, what I use is just coconut water. I just add some coconut water to water. I don't drink straight coconut water. That's amazing, but show me what you have.
So you're totally right. You're 1,000% right. And I actually learned about this through my midwife team when I was pregnant too, because I had a lot of headaches in pregnancy. And they're like, you need to probably put some electrolytes in your water. So that's what I do. So like one of these in the day will be a scoop of this to it. So it's just Ultima Replenish. It's 6 essential electrolytes. You can get this at Whole Foods or Amazon.
Awesome.
A lot of the
up to the camera a little bit more.
Okay, so it's called Ultima Electrolytes. And what's really nice is it has some salt, but it's not too much salt. So it's really, because some of that, it's only 2, so 1 scoop has 2% of your daily value of sodium in it. Some of the other electrolyte brands, like I could actually grab one for you right now.
Yeah.
This brand is advertised a lot. It's called LMNT.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
and my midwives actually recommended this for me first. But if you look at this, if you actually have a full packet of this, The sodium is 1,000 milligrams, which essentially is 43% of your daily value. So honestly, I didn't feel better when I had a pack of these.
That's awesome. And yeah, and I also, when you mentioned the protein first, so true. I totally switched to protein first. It's the first thing that goes in, even before the coffee. Protein first, and absolutely has changed my cravings like night and day. I am craving protein instead of craving chocolate.
Yes,
It's
yes. Oh my gosh.
it's
It's just
amazing.
crazy. And it's so hard, but it's just like if you just change that one little decision right in the beginning of your morning, it changes the rest of your day. So I'm
You
glad
could
we're
just
aligned on that.
yeah, just do it for 1 week. That's what I say. Do it for 1 week. You can do anything for 1 week. And then
Yes.
if you don't want to do it again, don't do it. Or maybe do it 1 week a month and see, how you can make little commitments like that, right?
It's so true. So my fourth tip, it's actually right after prioritizing protein, and it's this, because I don't want to send the wrong message of you should only have protein, because it's what we're not going to do the Atkins diet right when we have a kid, right? Like there's no such thing as diet. This is just a lifestyle. So prioritize the protein, make sure you're having enough protein in every single meal. But then I'm following up with this. Every meal you also need to have a carb, like a good carb. For dinner, it could be whole grain rice, or it could be we have Dave's Killer Bread in the morning. So I'll have a slice of Dave's Killer Bread with my eggs. But you actually should incorporate carbs. Sweet potatoes, love sweet potatoes. Quinoa, it's actually full of protein and carbs. So that why is that important? So that you're not like starving yourself of feeling satiated and feeling like, because if you only do protein by 3 o'clock, you're going to be like so starved of carbs, you're going to grab a cookie, because you're gonna be like, screw this, I need a carb. You can't like deprive yourself. It's just balanced eating, right? Like I'm gonna make sure I have protein. I also want to make sure I have a carb, because then I'm gonna later in the afternoon, I'm gonna probably overstress myself and grab for something like a Kit Kat bar that I shouldn't. So that's another thing. It's another point. Like in my journey, right? I have not cut out carbs. I don't believe in that. I think it's so unsustainable. So that would be my fourth. And then this one, so again, there's so many other tips, but I feel like this one I have to mention in the top 5, because it really truly just helped me just drop weight out of nowhere. And it's getting your steps in. So it is walking. It's not running. Like I'm not going to say you guys should do cardio. No, to be honest, and this might be controversial, but every time I tried to do any kind of cardio or like weightlifting, my supply would be impacted. And that's not everybody's story, but it is the truth of my story. So my weight loss every time has not been from like getting after it and going on a run after I have a big, no, that is not me at all. Also weightlifting, like no, every time I've tried to with my husband, the next day I like don't have letdown. So I'm like, okay, I can't do these things. So what is something that you can do physical that's not going to impact your supply? Walk. And walking for any distance is great. You could start small, but once you're comfortable, maybe it's 10 weeks postpartum, 12 weeks postpartum, just set a little goal every day. Like, you know what? I'm going to walk 2,000 steps today. I'm going to walk 3,000 steps today and see how I feel, right? You pause and you see how you feel.
And I always tell moms, of course, I'm over on the East Coast and it's cold here, but I always encourage them. I'm like, get outside with your baby, even if it's 5 minutes. Go walk down to your mailbox and come back. Walk down to the end of your driveway, to the third neighbor's house, and then turn around and come back. Just those little walks getting started. The fresh air, the vitamin C, the vitamin D, and the movement, all good for both of you.
You're actually touching on a couple of points that I have in my 5 to 10, because that is the game changer right there. It's what happens when you walk, right? You're forced to go outside. What happens when you're outside? Even if it's a cloudy day, you're getting some vitamin D. What does that do to your brain? Like what does that do to your hormones? It just helps nourish mamas after postpartum and makes you feel like I can do this,
It
right?
makes you feel like a human again, because you can get stuck. I remember with my first was born in February, and it was a really, really long, cold, very snowy winter. And it was a full 4 weeks before I stepped outside. And I remember stepping outside at that 1 month mark. I went to the mall by myself for 1 hour and then ran back home, and it was just like, oh my gosh, I forgot there was a whole world out there. It's life changing. So definitely,
100%.
I should have walked outside a few times. I had a porch. I could have just walked out on the porch and come back in, but I didn't have anyone to tell me to do that. So this is beautiful. I love that you have these top five. I definitely want to do a part two. So we're going to keep recording. We'll end this recording and then we'll come back and we'll do the next five, because this is like priceless. And I think people are going to love this. Thank you for this so far.
Yay!
And let's keep go on. And for those people who are watching, watch the next video and it'll be part two, and you'll get the next number 6 through 10 of the
Yes,
top 10.
number 6 through 10. And I'm truly hoping to have something like pretty that people can download. But
Yeah,
again,
when we
being a
get
mom of
that,
three,
we'll put it in the description when we get it.